Okay, year 10, here's our second lesson, or the actual first lesson, because the first video YouTube clip was an introduction. Remember, we're doing these worksheets. You have done these worksheets before, and the solutions are actually on our webpage for term 2 and our work for term 2. And we're doing lessons 2 and 3. Lesson 1. So hopefully you watched the introduction and you remember about how to plot or graph straight lines by plotting points. If you don't, go back and watch that. It's a quick video. There's no work attached with it. It's just reviewing the concept that we did or you would have learned in year 8 and year 9. So our lesson for today are our learning tensions. To understand linear functions, write the linear function in a general form and all that sort of gear, and work out just what is a linear function and what are the things that help us plot it. So here's a worksheet we're going to be doing, and remember the solutions are underneath. I'm going to not go up, scroll up to them because I'm going to here. Now what I want you to do with these is I want you to, if you're good, plot them and be able to graph them. And you should remember this from when you were in year 9. So graph the line of y equals x. So let's go to the first one. And this is going to be hard because I have, oh, come on. There we go. There's the graph of y equals x. It's a standard straight line. It goes through the center at 0, 0, and it makes an angle in here of 45 degrees. Now you should know that. Oh, that's terrible. Let's try and be a bit neater. 45 degrees. Now you should know that, but you can always go back to Desmos and just type it in. So here y equals x, and there it is. And the next one we're going to do is y equals negative x. Now you should know what that looks like, right? You should know what that looks like. So if we go back here, y equals negative x, okay, again it's a straight line, but this time it's going down there. It should go through 0, 0. And this angle is 45 degrees because it's going down left to right. So this angle, this angle here is 135 degrees. Okay, let's have a look at Desmos. And if we just put a negative in front of there, and we can see that's what happens. Now, there's an interesting thing that you need to be able to remember, and that is we'll find out later when we do that, but no, we'll do it later. So 2x, what happens? Well, again, if we go to Desmos and we put a 2 in, there's y equals x, and we watch a 2, what happens? So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a slider in there. So I'm going to put a K. I'm going to say, yeah, add me a slider, baby. And I'm going to let it run. So as it gets bigger, it gets steeper. So there it's up to 5. There it's up to 10. So it just gets steeper and steeper. Now coming back down, there it is at 1.25. All right. So let's go back here. Well, 2x and 3x and 5x, they're just going to be steeper versions of each other. So you should be able to graph these pretty quickly now. So you go, 2x is just a bit steeper. 3x is just, I'm going to leave that, a bit steeper still. And 5x is even steeper. What about the negatives? Well, if I let it go, get rid of that, thank you. Come on, play. Okay, so if I let it get to the negative, there's negative 1, or negative 1.8, so pretty close to 2. There's negative 5. So it's still steep, but it's just going down. It's just going down. So these ones here, negative 2x, I'm not going to use the ruler. No, I am going to use the ruler because that's rubbish. So that's rubbish too. Let's try again. And we need to get it reasonably steep. Come on, baby. There. So it's going down, it's going through 0, 0. The next one is even steeper. Oh, probably that's more like the 5x one. Yeah, let's undo that. All right, so that's a bit better. And then finally, the 5x is very, very steep. Let's grab that. So it should look something like that. And if you go, all right, now you have to write what happens. So you can use your own words, or you can go back and have a look and in your own words make some notes. So there you go. I've written some notes as I've gone along, and I've written the 45 degrees, and I've used a ruler. So they all go through 0, 0, but the steepness, the slope, the angle, and notice I've written tan there. We're going to use that later to find the value of that angle in there. Gradient changes. Bigger number, steeper line. So the line gets steeper and an increasing gradient. So, and for the second part, what happens is it goes negative, it goes down left to right. Okay, so let's have a look at the next ones. Now we're talking fractions. So let's go back to Desmos. And this time, we're just going to limit it because we'll just look at the positive ones. And we'll make our step only go from 0 to 1. And you can see it gets flatter and flatter and flatter. And if I stop it at 1, there's our 45 degrees. And what's going to happen? Oh, it just gets flatter and flatter and flatter. What's that? That's pretty close to a half. Okay, let's let it go a bit further. That's pretty close to 3/10. 0.3, 3/10. So if I stop it, there's 1/10, 0.1. So let's go back and have a look now. What do we got here? So these things are all, oh, I don't want that. Well, actually, that might work even better. So, no. Let's get rid of that, get this. And here's my line. And if it gets a quarter, straight line, it's still going up, but it's getting flatter and flatter. And a tenth, look how flat it is by the time we get to a tenth. All right. So well, that one's not even as flat. And it's hard to give it even flatter. These two should be the other way around. That one and that one should swap. So what about if they're negative? Well, let's go back and have a look at Desmos, and let's just change our step from -1 to 0. See what happens. Okay, so they're going down. So you should be pretty good with these. And let's have a look. And there's negative, added on negative a tenth. That'll do, it's pretty close. Negative 11 hundredths. There's negative, close to negative a half. And then if I get to negative 1, which we know is 135 degrees. So all of these are going to be the same but going down. So up left to right, positive, down left to right, negative. And if you go to the website and you can check out the solutions, and again, you need to make notes for yourself. And you can see by the time you get to a tenth, it's almost flat. So the two questions, what happens to the line as a coefficient? The number in front of x gets smaller. So smaller means a fraction or decimal closer to 0, and the line gets flatter and flatter, less steep. What about a rule or a theory given the linear equation if you're given the gradient? Well, the gradient tells you the steepness. The gradient tells you the direction, the steepness, the slope of the angle or rise over run of a linear equation. And it's that thing in front of the x. It's a number in front of the x, which we've given the pronumeral of m. Righto. Here now, we've got these ones where we're just going, look on the left-hand side, it's y equals x plus something, y equals x plus something, y equals x minus something, y equals x minus something. So let's go back to Desmos. And we'll go back here and we'll line it as y equals x and we'll just add a k. And we'll go here and we'll go from negative 1, let's go negative, I don't know what we have, 4 to 4. And let's let that go. So there's our line, and it's just moving up or down between 4 and minus 4. So if we put it to 0, k equals 0, that's just our standard line, y equals x. If we put it to 1, or close to 1, come on, it goes through 1, 0, 1. And if we put it equal to 4, it goes through 4. So if we now graph these, we're just looking at the ones, go away.